Welcome to the second edition of the ASEAN Innovator Summit. For those of you who had the pleasure to be here 2 years ago, I welcome you back. For those of you who are here for the first time, you are in for a fantastic experience. I want to do a small little call out before we get started. We have amongst the group here today our SAP user group. I really appreciate you take the time to be with us here today for the partnership that you're offering to us, and make sure we continue to offer an even better experience with you as an SAP customer. If you're not part of the SAP user group yet, this is a fantastic opportunity for you to join this powerful force of SAP user. So let's get into it. What shaking news that was. $1 billion lost in 24 hours just because one simple little shoe broke at the most unfortunate time in the most unfortunate event. $1 billion Nike lost that night. You saw the example from Thailand. Basically, an officer who got a little bit too excited, slapped a tourist. The social media went crazy. Had massive amount of millions of impact on the tourism business in Thailand. Dr. Chikobane, which thought that they were a little bit too creative and funny to create this little video. It was not funny. It went viral big time and had a massive impact to their business in China. These are all some examples, and there are many more examples out there, but this is just the reality of the world we live in today. It could happen to any one of us at every single moment. So, let's get down to it. What is all this experience economy about? Experience economy is basically on the notion that customer is king, right? Customer experience is king. Customer have a good experience, you can unlock some value potential, generate new revenue streams, create a better user experience, a customer experience, and basically make sure you retain your customers. But let me give you a few questions and play with me for a second here. How many of you have went on social media and tweeted or mentioned a bad experience you had about a restaurant visit, a taxi drive, a hotel, but basically go on social media to say something bad? Few of you? You're too modest, man, come on. You're Singaporean, of course you have. I don't like this dish, right? You know what? Every study shows it's in the human nature. We like complaining. 95% of every customer tell about the bad experience. The good experience, we like to keep it to ourselves because no one else should know about the fantastic secret restaurant or the exclusive resort we found somewhere in Asia. Another great example. Hands up. How many of you had more than 2 banking accounts 10 years ago? Okay, good. Keep up your hands, please. How many of you have more than 2 banking accounts today? A few more hands. And I'm sure we can make the same examples if we go to telco providers. How often have you changed your telco provider? The reality is today it's so easy for customer to switch. The switching cost from one vendor to another is decimal, in some cases 0. Customers have plentiful of choices and they take advantage of them. Let me give you the last example. I'm sure that all of you have your favorite brand. And I see many of you have your phone, so can I ask you, type down on your phone, or if you have a good memory, memorize your favorite brand. You got them? My favorite brand, or amongst other favorite brand, is Singapore Airlines. Why? I like you smile, right? We all love Singapore Airlines. Why? Because I have a huge family. I have a wife from Colombia, so you can imagine we have to fly very long and far very often. I have 4 kids, Maximilian who's 10, Benjamin who just turned 3 today. I have Oliver who's 1, and I have Lucia who was born 3 weeks ago. You can imagine traveling with a kindergarten like that, you need a good airline, right? What does Singapore Airlines do? Every time I'm going on a plane, they call me before boarding the plane, ask about the seat arrangement. They ask about my preferences, dietary preferences, etc. Basically what happens when we go into the plane, They give us extra attention, making sure we have a good atmosphere and make sure that we are comfortable. Throughout the entire flight, they do everything possible to make sure we have a good experience. I sometimes do joke with my wife, are they doing it for us or doing more for the rest of the 200 people sitting in the flight so they don't have to listen to the kids crying? But the amazing thing with the Singapore Airlines story is, do I honestly remember how much money I've spent on Singapore Airlines the last year? No, and honestly, I don't care either. Do I even remember how much data information I have given to Singapore Airlines? Not really, because I trust them so much. So now you go back to your phone, you look at the brand, you note it down, and you ask yourself the question, do you actually recall how much money you spent the last year on that brand? Probably not, right? Would you still stick with that brand if they increase their price 10%? Probably yes. Do you even know the amount of personal information you have shared with that company? Probably not, because you trust them. This whole experience economy obviously boiled down to some key challenges. And one which is the most evident one is that if you ask around a number of CEOs, what is the experience you give to your customer? 80% will say we deliver a superior customer experience to our customer. Interesting enough, if you ask their customer, 8% says that they're getting an experience service. That creates what we call the experience gap. If you're able to address that experience gap, you're able to retain more customers, generate new revenue stream. Basically, the crunch of it, we need to address this experience gap. We did a study last year in Southeast Asia, Singapore included. 3,000 consumers responded to the survey, and was very much around whether you like the digital experience you get when you buy something online, etc. 54% of the customers in Singapore say we don't like it. So we have this experience gap that we need to address. The experience gap doesn't only focus on the experience from a customer perspective. You can take the same example and relate it to employees. All of us in the room here today, assuming, are employees of an organization. How easily do you get frustrated about cumbersome processes? I can tell you, I do sometimes with this German company. Cumbersome policies, a bad atmosphere in the office, an irritating manager, everything creating an environment that creates a poor morale, eventually leading towards a lower productivity, and eventually leading to that you potentially lose the talent that you have in your organization. So again, this experience gap is something we need to get our arms around, may it be from a customer perspective, or for that matter, from an employee perspective. So how does this all come together? We refer to what we call X and O data. So what is X and O data? Bear with me for a second. O data refers to everything what is happening. You can imagine all the data that you have in your system relating to managing your customers, managing your employees, managing your supply chain, managing your procurement. All these processes end-to-end that we are managing in our organization. All that is operational data. Most of our organizations, we have a pretty good grip around that. The experience data itself refers to the experience that we get either from our customers or from our employees. So the experience management data is something we capture for what is our customer like? What excites them? What delights them? What makes them buy more? What makes them stay with you as a vendor, as a company? When you combine the forces of this operational data and the experience data, you have the power and the X and the O data. You basically make sure that you create a complete view of your value chain. You capture the missing link that in the past we have had when we only focused on the operational data. So let me try to give you an example, and what better example to relate to one's own world. And let's see if it works. Would you hear me for a second? If I can kindly ask. So I have here on my phone, it is my phone, you will see it in a second because there's pictures of my kids in the background, so that's evidence it is mine. So this is my SuccessFactors app. It's basically our HR model, and if you're not familiar with it, you can learn more about it in the experience zone. You can see this is the people reporting to me. So let's pick on an individual in this room, Core. You sit there and try to hide yourself. Core is our managing director of Singapore. I have him here. Let's check out who Core is. So Core reports to me, and into Core, we have a couple of people reporting into him, and these people are actually in the audience here today, so you should probably have updated your profile and your picture before it went on screen in front of 300 people. Let's learn a little bit more about Core. What is his contact information? Where can I get hold of him? Now it's getting interesting, right? So do we want to give Core a promotion today? Or do we want to fire Core? Of course, we are not going to fire Core. We all love him. But I have here on my fingertips access to all information. I can as well, and probably a little bit more relevant, and to stop picking on Core, I have access to my own actions as well. I have, for instance, 2 actions. There's 2 candidates I interviewed last week that I need to formally provide some feedback to. I have a long list of some learning content I need to go through to update me on the latest topics around experience management, blockchain, you name it. So I have everything available here. Basically capture all my operational data. The beauty of it, and here's the proof point, this is my son, the one turning 3 years old. This is number 3, 4 is not on the picture. I go into my experience management data, another app I have on my phone, because what I want to understand is how excited, delighted are my customers in my organization. What can I do more in order to make sure that they deliver more productivity to us? And this is the moment where we look very angry at Melvin. So once our little app here come up, let's see if we can get it again. So once it gets up, what we can get in this app, oh la la. Melvin, if you can come up, I'll try to get this one up. And while I get it up, he can share some of the experience management data we can capture. Melvin, you want to share? Oh, you need your...
This is where that, we're getting very close to each other.
You know what, Melvin? While you entertain, we are back on track. Can I get the screen back? So, what you see here is basically I get access to all my experience management data. Oh, I promised too much now. Okay, let me explain what you will see when it comes up. I have here access on the fingertips to what is the experience of the employees we have in Southeast Asia. What is the engagement level they have? What are the various derailers that we have? What are the things that excite and delight them about working in the organization? So as an example, it will show that the employees in Southeast Asia, they're very excited about the opportunity to work on new ideas, get the chances to share ideas that they have that can improve their work-life balance, improve the way that they work, drive their creativity. However, what they do want to see a little bit more of is an opportunity to see what are the career opportunities they have in the organization. So what my Qualtrics app is doing is basically give me an opportunity to get some real-time suggestion. How can I address some of these experience gaps that we have? So what I wanted to show to you, and unfortunately it didn't come up as planned, was basically you have on your fingertips the opportunity right now to capture the operational data as well as the experience data in one go. Can I ask you to go back to the slide? The other slide, if you can check it out. So, no, that's okay. So what we try to do with this X and O data is basically to make sure that we capture both the O data and X data in one go, which enable us to manage our customer better and equally so our employee base better. So SAP as many of you are aware, we've been around here for a while. Actually, we've been around here for 47 years. We have now the luxury of serving more than 425,000 customers around the world. It gives a fantastic opportunity. That opportunity is basically that we have access to 77% of the world's transaction. It touches an SAP system. It basically means that all operational data around the world is something that connects with an SAP system. The beauty of the combination between SAP and Qualtrics is now that Qualtrics basically captures 1.8 billion experience touch points. So I'm sure you start to get the picture. We have this fantastic opportunity of combining the operational data you get from the SAP world with the experience data that we get from the Qualtrics world. You put that together and it just gives you a unique opportunity to differentiate yourself, give you a unique opportunity to create new products and services that will excite your customer, making sure you take the right actions to keep your employee base happy and thriving. So what I want to leave with you is the power of this combination of Qualtrics that came onto the SAP family a few months ago and SAP. Basically give you access to unparalleled industry expertise, give you access to the most powerful digital platform called S/4HANA, give you an opportunity to deploy that in cloud environment, access to the latest technology that will enable you around blockchain, artificial intelligence, and so forth. And all this is wrapped around what you can do in the experience economy. With that, I want to leave you with a video, and a big thank you to all of you for coming here today. I urge you to go out and see some of the things we have showing at the experience show. I can assure you their demo will work better than mine. I wish you a very joyful day, and thank you for coming.